Hey everyone, so in this video what we're going to be doing is we're going to be covering QuickBooks inventory management, how Brahmin Solutions and QuickBooks integrate together and provide a complete inventory management software for you. Brahmin, just to give you a little background on Brahmin Solutions is what we call it is a lean inventory ERP system for SMB wholesalers and manufacturers, allows you to track all of your purchases, your inventory, your productions, your sales in one platform. And then it essentially just makes QuickBooks more like an accounting platform. So it sends all the financial data like inventory number, like inventory values, invoices, any payments made, bills. So QuickBooks is not really doing all of the heavy work for inventory side of it, or just like the order management, and Brahmin takes care of that, and QuickBooks is purely your financial platform, and together they make it what we call a very lean ERP. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to cover the integration, how easy it is to integrate the systems together, and then we'll cover the Brahmin Solutions inventory management capabilities, and just show you where they both connect with each other and how the information goes from one place to the other. Okay, so first let's go through this integration part of it. So we're going to go to add-ons, integrations, QuickBooks. Here we're going to click connect, which is then going to bring me to the integration here, and click this, click connect. All right, so as soon as I do that, the integration's authenticated, connected. And now, essentially, all you have to do is do some configuration here. So one thing to note is you can turn on and off specific parts of the integration. So if you want to manage anything offline or separately, you could do that, or you could have Brahmin kind of automate this. It's really up to you. So if you are a brand new business and you want to slowly implement it, you can do this by turning only certain things on, certain things off, and then, you know, as you get more comfortable, you can turn everything on. Okay, so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on all of the functionality. So this is this allows me to export invoices and RMAs from us to QuickBooks. Allows me to send journal entries, tax rates, adjustment journal entries, bills, payments, sales journal entries. The only thing I'm not going to turn on is the invoice number. That's because I like the default setting that Brahmin has, which basically when it sends an invoice, it sends sales order number and the system generated invoice number. So you can look it up by both. Okay. But if you just send invoice number, it's only going to send the Brahmin invoice number. So you might not know what the sales order number is. So it just makes it easier for you to search. Okay. We're going to save this. Once this is done, you're going to basically map your accounts. So there is a QuickBooks specific page in our help docs that kind of tell you, but again, this that shows you like exactly the transaction entries that are being sent to QuickBooks. You might want to review that with your accountant, and then just make sure that you review with your accountant first, and then you map these accounts. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to map these accounts that I already know. So I'm going to put this to purchases. I'm also going to just put this as purchase expenses, accounts payable, accounts receivable, cost of goods with cost of goods. All right, sales income, inventory. This is going to be expenses. I'm going to put it under labor cost, expenses, discounts. Okay, so taxes, we're going to map it. And for all of these, I'm just going to map it with bank for now. So this is, again, you can add other payments as well so that you can map it accordingly. So for now, just for this demo purpose, I'm just going to go ahead and map it with bank. Okay, a couple things here. So these are the default system settings. I'm going to go ahead and save the account configuration. So a couple things here. These are the default account settings. So this is what your items will fall back to. If you want to customize it, I know a lot of companies would like to customize their income. Certain income goes here into the specific category. You could do that. You can also map it with classes at the customer level, which I'll show that in a minute here. If you also want inventory assets to go to specific accounts, so for example, packaging material going into the packaging inventory, if you want the raw materials going to the raw materials, and then finished product to go into the finished product account, you can do that. You can also, your purchases too, you can kind of break it down into maybe raw material expense, packaging expense. So you can really break it down, but you don't do it here. This is more of a system configuration. I'll show that to you. You can do that at the product level. The other thing is you can also map taxes. So you can map your different tax rates. So if this tax rate is set, it would go there. If tax rate is not mapped, it would automatically go into the Brahmin Solutions Zero account. If you're a non-US account, it is important that you map taxes, and you also map you need to make sure you map taxes, because we do need to send a tax. All right, even if they're tax exempt, we need to send something to QuickBooks. Okay. For payments, again, if we're integrating with Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, any of that, and they have a specific payment type like PayPal or Affirm or anything it is, what will happen is Brahmin will create the payment type here, and then the first invoice typically, or the first payment will fail, and you just get to map it. Once that's done, it's mapped forever. Or you can actually map it ahead of time. Okay, you can map, maybe it's PayPal for fair. You can map that with a PayPal account. Okay, so all these different types of payments, you can map it so that they're going to the right account. All right. Okay. What I wanted to quickly show you was the inventory side. So, for example, quickly before I jump into this, I do want to show at the item level, you have the ability to map your accounts accordingly. So here you can map it with the specific purchase account, cost of goods, sales income, and product income. Okay, so you can basically you can categorize it even more at the item level. If not, it'll just go back to the system default. Okay. Another thing is a lot of people ask is for classes, so that it's for better reporting. So at the customer level, okay, you also will have the ability to map it with like a QuickBooks class if it exists. So therefore, your income can be categorized, and so you can just run better reports. Okay, so that can also be done, but that's on the customer level. We allow you just to do your own complete customization on this. All right. Okay. So all right. So that's just how you set up the integration. So now let's walk into the Brahmin Solutions, the inventory, lean, MRP, ERP software. Okay. First thing is Brahmin tracks everything in terms of inventory, right? Your raw materials, your work in progress products, your finished products, everything is tracked within the Brahmin system. And first thing you need to understand is, I know there's a bunch of negatives here. First thing you need to understand is the inventory numbers. So on hand is what you physically have. Allocated, it tracks everything that is allocated, meaning if it's a raw material, like I can filter just by raw materials by searching by. So raw materials that are going into manufacturing orders. So as a result, on hand minus allocated is your availability. You're short 22. Okay. But you're expecting 31, which is also tracks what's incoming. So if I click on it, you can see exactly the purchase order that it's coming from and the expected date and the unit of measure. Okay. You can see that, and then for sales, you can see in this case, this is a raw material. You can see exactly how much is needed in each production and when the expected production is expected to be completed. Okay. All right. If this is a product that is made, you'll see again made meaning that it has a bill of material associated with it. So you'll see the on hand. This is what I have on hand, and you'll see exactly how much I have in storage. Okay. And then you will also see allocated quantity. That is what's needed. So what sales orders are requiring, right? So that's your demand essentially. And then what's left as a result, you have negative 21 available. Again, expected is your incoming inventory. Since this is a product that is made, your incoming inventory will be coming from manufacturing orders. Okay. So just let's take a step back. So you can see your inventory numbers, what you have, what is the demand, what is left as a result of it, Am I going to be able to, you can also see, is there incoming inventory or there's inventory being manufactured to meet my shortage? So you can see all of that, okay? Couple other things that we do is, we'll explain can make, which actually is a new functionality we're releasing. This is our beta version, but you'll actually be able to see what amount of inventory you can make. And the way it's going to work is it's going to be able to see inventory even if you have multi-level BOMs. So that's a cool functionality here. So even if you have multi-level BOMs, it's just not going to look at the top level. It's going to go down and see, what can I make? How much. So from the bottom up, it's going to tell you, as a result, I can make this. Okay, that's an incoming feature for multi-level BOMs. All right, we also have this thing called committed and available to pick. Something very important here. So I'll explain that in a little bit as well. Couple things here. We also have moving average cost, which is your average cost of inventory. So every time inventory is put in to the system, it calculates what the cost of the inventory is, and then what was the cost, what is the value of inventory currently in inventory. So there's always a moving average cost. So you take the MAC and you have an idea of, so you take a MAC, and then so as a result, you'll have an idea of what your average inventory value is, okay? All right, let's also jump into the item itself. So a couple things that you can do on the item. Brahmin has full traceability, so you can track serialized products, lot products, batch products, can track all that. Also allows you to track multi-unit of measures. I know a lot of businesses will need to track pricing. You might buy in one unit of measure versus the other, right? You might track inventory at each, but you sell it as a pallet. Or you might buy it in a pallet, but you track it in individual eaches. So you can set up different unit of measures in different configurations. You can also set up vendors and supplier. So you can set up vendors and like the unit of measure that you buy from your specific vendor as well. Okay. So again, everything can be customized. So a lot of this stuff that QuickBooks is lacking is all done within Brahmin and just makes it super easy. Okay. All right, a couple other things that you can do within Brahmin for the inventory side. You can also set up min and maxes so that if you're running low on inventory, automatically the system would suggest a reorder. If this is an item that needs to be made, it's going to tell you, okay, as a result, you don't have this enough inventory. I need to maintain this quantity. You need to make this much amount of quantity. Okay, so min max will help you. The system can also automate this for you. Based on your demand and how much you're selling over a period of time. Based on that, it can also suggest a min-max. Okay? All right. So that's the inventory side. Moving over, just one last thing that we can do is we can also do bundles within our system as well. So if you are a company that needs bundles, so it's like, I have a kit or a bundle. It's made up of two other items, essentially. You can create a bundle product which actually pulls inventory from the items that actually store inventory. So you can track that as well. Okay, moving on to the, let's actually go over sales. Then we'll go into production and then we'll go into purchasing. Okay, so Brahmin tracks all of your customers. So all the customers would be here. And as inventories are, as invoices are synced with QuickBooks, it's going to check to see if the customer exists. If not, it will create the customer. But you'll have a lot more customer tracking data within here. So it's also a lean CRM. So you can track a bunch of data, addresses, contact information, minimum order amounts, payment terms, price lists. So it's pretty much, you can do a lot with it. And if you are missing any fields, you can also just create custom fields. Okay. All right. Going over to the sales side. So here is our sales screen. We do everything based on prioritization. That's also based off of, as you can see here, the ship by date. That's here. I'm going to move this right here. Okay. So ship by date, everything is organized by ship by date. So assuming that anything that's needs to be shipped out first, we'll assume to get the inventory first. So Brahmin also tells you, based on those inventory numbers and either if you've created production orders or not, it's going to tell you what's in stock right now. If it's not in stock, when can you expect it based on if there's a PO against it or there's a manufacturer order against it. And if there's nothing against it, that essentially says it's out of stock. Hey, this essentially cannot be fulfilled because there is no production order to make this product, right? You haven't planned it, or there's no PO to bring this inventory in so I can actually just, receive it and then send it out to the customer. Okay, so you can see that. Other visibility, you can see what orders have been invoiced, what haven't. You can see partial invoicing here, right? Only 40% have been invoiced. There's also a 2 invoice screen, so you can see anything that's been invoiced or has to be invoiced, okay? If you are a company that invoices after something is fulfilled, you can just basically open up an order, go over to the invoice section, and then basically invoice, okay? And here's the thing about invoicing. As soon as you invoice, I'm gonna set this up, payment terms is net 30. As soon as you invoice, this invoice is instantly synced with your QuickBooks platform, okay? So if I were to go to sales, actually I can just go here and say, so you'll see like the most recent invoices, and also as soon as it's clicked, it's there essentially. So if I go to sales, I go to invoices, you'll see my 129 invoice 85, right, coming in. So that's that. It's instantly synced. You can also track logs here as well. So as soon as anything is synced, you can see that if it's been successful or not. Okay. All right. Going over to the sales order again. We have a specific sales order module video, but in this we're going to go over on a high level. So if you want to create sales orders, all you have to do is select new, type in the customer, add in the items. Again, pricing is automatically pre-populated. You can set up you can enter reference order numbers. You can track a bunch of things. So let me open up something that's in stock here. Okay, so you can see the same items were added. You can see the ship by date, and so on. You can actually email out of here as well. And when you're ready to invoice, you can invoice out of the system. And when you do mark things as shipped, or you can actually, if you're shipping this by UPS, FedEx, we do have integrations with ShipStation. So labels would come, the tracking information would come back into Brahmin. And as soon as something is shipped, we actually update the journal entries as well. So if I were to go pack, I'm just gonna pack this normally within Brahmin. Gonna click ship. As soon as something is shipped out, we also send a transaction. So you'll see like a journal entry here for the shipment. And that's so it says journal entry for ship 128, ship 195. That's basically this, showing you the cost of goods. Okay. So what it does is it takes it out of inventory, now puts the value into cost of goods. All right. So the bookkeeping is done automatically for you. Okay. Again, more in depth. There's a lot to cover. So more in depth videos. There are specific in depth videos for this. Again, this is more of an overall demo. So I'm going to be covering more on the high level. All right. Moving on to the production side. So Brahmin allows you to track recipes, product recipes, multi-level bill of materials. So I could, for example, this is my lightsaber, and this is all the components that are needed to make it, and then my operations. Okay, and then one of the items could also have its own bill of material, so it's a sub-assembly essentially. All right, here is my manufacturing order queue. So everything again is organized in terms of what needs to be done first. So that's priority based, and based on the priority base, the system tells you if it's in stock, it's not. If it's not in stock, when is it expected? All right. Manufacturing orders allow you to track what goes in. So here is my manufacturing order. You can track waste. You can track operations. And the other thing is the work order, you actually track what was done. So if you're a lot tracked or serial tracked, Brahmin allows you to track all of the components or the serial numbers that went into production, what came out, and what was the serial number that came out. So complete traceability as well. You can also track waste. If you're like a food and beverage business, let's say something was wasted as a result or something yielded less, you can track that as well. That's where we have the actual numbers. Okay, again, all of this data can be printed, PDF'd. You can also add attachments. You can basically keep records of what was done actually in the warehouse. You can even take pictures as well. All right. And then when manufacturing orders are done, typically what will happen is we will create a, so here I'm going to complete this production. I'm going to auto pick it, and I'm going to generate this lightsaber. So here I'm going to do, so I'm going to generate the lightsaber number, and I'm going to click complete. Okay. So as soon as production is done and labor numbers are entered, we also send a journal entry for this as well. This is going to be, so there's also a journal entry being sent for this as well. That is going to be that's going to be the manufacturing journal entry. So it tells so basically shows, it basically shows what was the inventory value. Now the inventory value was increased by 13,000. Out of this, it's 9,000 is the materials, right? And then the 3,600 is the manufacturing labor costs. Okay. All right. So that's also tracked. Again, all this is automated. Okay. Now moving on to the purchasing side of it. So you can track POs within the system. So, and then once POs are ready to be billed, it automatically gets sent up to QuickBooks. Couple ways you can create POs automatically. You can use our reorder report that tells you all the items that need to be ordered based on the demand and based on like if they're incoming or if they're not, and how much you're short by. We also track your vendors as well, so you can track all of the vendors here. More information on the vendor, addresses, and so on. Okay. Going over to the PO. So if I have a PO here, so here's the PO with the costs. POs can come. So if you're purchasing something in a different unit of measure, Brahmin also tracks that as well. And once you're ready to receive inventory, you can receive the inventory. And I'm just going to go ahead and try to receive this inventory. And I just need to enter a batch number here and most likely a serial number here. Okay, so you'll see that even though we're ordering 2 pallets and each pallet is about 10 each, so it's going to ask for 20 serial numbers. Okay, so we receive it. Again, as soon as you receive something, it creates a journal entry in QuickBooks. As you can see, that this thing is pretty instant. So as soon as you refresh your data, you'll see that there's been a PO journal entry here that basically says the cost of all of this is 98,000, and 98,000 are now put into inventory. Okay, and if a vendor sends over a bill to you, you have the ability to bill. And one cool thing that you can do within Brahmin is you can do partial bills. You can actually do that with sales orders as well. You can do partial sales invoices, and you can keep invoicing until you've invoiced everything on a sales order. So here I can do partial invoicing if I want to. I can just invoice one part of that, and then I can create a new bill and invoice one part of that. Okay, so super simple. Again, everything goes off of the purchase order, and it's super flexible. Okay. Finally, a couple things. As an inventory lean ERP software, we provide end-to-end. We go all the way from purchasing to inventory to production to sales. Couple things I do want to highlight about the system. Again, we have full traceability, so you can track your batches, like when the batch was created and then when the batch was consumed. You'll see that I've received 20 meters. And then I use 20 meters in an assemblies. So you can see that. You can also look at serial numbers, right? What serial numbers are active in the system? When was it produced? Or when was it received? Or when was it shipped? When was it used in production? Or when was it created in production? And when was it, where was it shipped out? So you can see all of that. We have a bunch of integrations. So again, we integrate with QuickBooks. We integrate with a bunch of shipment platforms to print labels out. We integrate with payment platforms. We integrate with a bunch of sales channels. We also have our own B2B portal. So if you are a wholesaler, you just need to take orders from small retailers. You can do that. You just give them access to a B2B portal. They'll place orders and it will all come in. We integrate with Shopify. There's a few integrations that you don't see here. We integrate with BigCommerce, WooCommerce, all the major platforms we integrate with. So if there's anything that you need custom, you can either do it with Zapier, or another way to do it is you can do it via, the other way you can do it is you can actually just let us know, and typically we'll build an integration out within 1 to 2 weeks. It's super easy for us, okay? So hopefully that gives you an overview of the Brahmin Solutions inventory management software along with QuickBooks, how together they make a very lean ERP for small to medium businesses. And it's super easy to set up. It typically, we get clients up and running in 30 days, and we do our own implementation. Like our team member, I'm also involved in the implementation to just make sure you get the best results. All right. If you guys want to see a more in-depth demo with your own data, please book a call with us. We would love to talk to you and see how we can help. All right. Thank you.